What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Euro NBA video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls once again, and this is coming right after the Chicago Bulls just beat the Houston Rockets, and now they're on a 2-game winning streak as of right now. The Bulls beat the Rockets 125 to 120. It was a pretty good game for the Bulls. The Bulls pretty much had to lead the entire game for the most part, and they were just really looking good. They outscored the Rockets 28 to 16 in the first quarter. The second quarter, both of the teams scored 36, and then the Rockets outscored the Bulls 34 to 29 in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, the Rockets actually outscored the Bulls 34 to 32, but it was still enough for the Bulls to, get the win. And the Bulls, they just look really good. Lauri Markkanen, who he missed a couple of games, last week. He missed quite a bit of games. I think it was like 4 or 5 or something like that, maybe less, I don't know. But he had 18 points this game, 7 rebounds. He hit the crucial dagger 3-pointer at the end of the fourth quarter to pretty much give the Bulls a win, because they were only up 3, and then that 3-pointer made them go up 6 points, and it was pretty much the end of the game after that happened. And yeah, so Lauri Markkanen still has this clutch gene. Yeah, so the Bulls are still looking really good. Lauri Markkanen looking really good, like I said. His defense is kind of shaky. Also, I wish that he, became more aggressive when it comes to driving to the paint and also going into the post a little bit more, because he scored 18 points this game, but he only had 1 shot attempt inside of the paint, and that was on a fast break, point. All of his other points came, from the 3-point line and the free throw line. So I wish that he was more aggressive when it comes to attacking the paint, because if you look at a guy like Sabonis, he's built pretty much the same as Lauri Markkanen, and Sabonis is able to get to the paint, hit those mid-range shots, score in the post, and do all this stuff. And I wish Lauri Markkanen would do the same, as Sabonis, and just become more of a paint presence. But as of right now, he's, a shooter, which is also a really good thing in the NBA. So yeah, I think Lauri Markkanen, he still needs to improve on some things. His defense is kind of shaky as well. But for the most part, he is looking pretty good this year in terms of scoring. And then Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple might have been the greatest pickup in Chicago Bulls history. I'm just kidding. Not in the Bulls history, but this year, Garrett Temple has helped out the Bulls tremendously, bro. The Bulls, without Garrett Temple, bro, the Bulls might be a bottom team. I don't know, but Garrett Temple, he's been really good for the Bulls. He's been hitting clutch shots. He's been hitting, crucial shots. Like I said, clutch shots. There have been times where the other team was starting to get a rhythm, starting to come back into the game, starting to go on a run, but then Garrett Temple just hits 2 threes in a row, and then the other team loses confidence in their run. And then it's like, oh, Garrett Temple also is able to find the open man and get some assists. He had 2 assists tonight. He had 2 rebounds tonight, and he had 13 points. Garrett Temple, he's just a veteran. His veteran presence is really good, and he's just able to, make crucial basket. And then Wendell Carter Jr., bro. Wendell Carter Jr. was atrocious in the preseason. But ever since the first 2 games of the season, Wendell Carter has just been so good. He had 10 points this game, 8 rebounds in 21 minutes. He's just been all around a good player. He's been great on defense. He's also developed a mid-range shot, because last year I feel like Wendell Carter, he was able to make the mid-range shot, but I don't know if he was able to make it at a consistent rate. But this year he has showed that he might be able to make it at a consistent rate if he works at it a little more. Wendell has just showed that he can score in the paint, he can defend the paint against the other team, and he's just looking like a really good, center out there. And then Zach Levine, you already know Zach Levine. He scored 33 points, 7 assists. Zach Levine is he's just an all-star player. There's really not much to say about him. Kobe White, he had another night where it was like kind of suspect. He only had 10 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. which is, it's decent. But for Kobe, he's more of a scorer, and the past 2 games he hasn't really been scoring that much. But the Bulls won the past 2 games, so maybe Kobe White not scoring much is better for the team. I don't know. But basically, Kobe White, he is just not, his shot is not fully there. As of right now, he's on a little bit of a slump, but our team is still winning, so that's good. And after the game against the Rockets, he was seen, putting up some shots after the game to, work on his shot making ability, which is also a really good sign for, the dedication on the team. Thaddeus Young continues to be a veteran presence who's a really good player, and he had 12 points and 9 rebounds. Denzel Valentine is weird, bro. Denzel Valentine is like weird. He had 13 points, 8 rebounds, which, on paper that looks good. 13 points, 8 rebounds. And he was pretty good in the game. But then there's other stretches where he's like not good. Like I remember he had a stretch where he missed like 2 3-pointers. One of the 3-pointers was a really bad shot. And then he had a turnover on a terrible pass to Garrett Temple. And it was just like, bro, get this dude out the game. But then there's other instances where he like hits a clutch 3. He makes a clutch pass. He gets the clutch rebound, and all this stuff. So I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird with Denzel Valentine. He's kind of streaky. So right now, I think he's obviously he's getting minutes because Hutchison is out, and Thomas Satoransky is out as well. Ryan Arcidiacono also played. He had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He's also a decent player. Daniel Gafford, 7 points, 3 rebounds. Daniel Gafford is obviously a really good defensive player, and that's pretty much all. Obviously, this win against the Rockets was a pretty good win. Obviously, the Rockets are not that good this year. They're 4-8 after this loss. John Wall wasn't playing. Christian Wood had 30 points, and Victor Oladipo had 32, and Eric Gordon had 21. So obviously, those 3 players played really well. But besides those 3 players, their team was just like pretty mediocre. But yeah, so this win against the Rockets, it's impressive because obviously Oladipo's an all-star player. Christian Wood is probably a future all-star player. Eric Gordon is a really good role player, and we were able to just manhandle the team pretty much. Obviously, they had a little comeback in the third. And towards the end of the game, they, were starting to come back a little bit. But for the most part of the game, we were winning pretty convincingly. Obviously, we won yesterday against the Dallas Mavericks. It was 2 days ago when this video was uploaded. But we won against the Dallas Mavericks. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka played. They were missing a couple of role players, but Kristaps and Luka played. Which, the first win against the Mavericks, those 2 players didn't play. And then a bunch of people were talking about, it's because Luka and Kristaps didn't play. It was not an impressive win. But when Luka and Kristaps played, the Bulls still won. And so now I think it's an impressive win. Even though Kristaps didn't really play that well, Luka had 30 something points at the half. But then he only scored 6 points in the second half, so I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm really happy with the Bulls' last 2 games. The game against the Clippers. If a couple of things went differently in the Bulls' favor, that's a W right there. The Bulls barely lost that game. The game against the Lakers, the Bulls lost by only 2 points. Obviously, the Lakers didn't have AD, but still, they had LeBron out there. And they were looking really good. And the Bulls were looking really good. The one thing I hate about the Bulls is that they always just like look really good, but then they just collapse at the end and lose the game against some of these better teams. Some of the calls by the refs were questionable at the end of that game, but nonetheless, the Bulls lost. It was only by 2. I'm pretty sure the Bulls had the chance to hit the game-winning 3, if I remember correctly, but then Zach Levine missed a game-tying mid-range at the end of regulation. So that's tough, but I'm still happy that we only lost by 2. The game against the Kings was really tough. I remember watching that. I was so mad that I almost like teared up because of how mad I was. because the Bulls defense that game was atrocious, bro. Atrocious. The Sacramento Kings put up 128 points against our defense, and they didn't even have De'Aaron Fox the whole game. De'Aaron Fox only played 5 minutes because he got injured. And we all know what De'Aaron Fox can do. He just had a 40-point game the other day. De'Aaron Fox only played 5 minutes. Marvin Bagley, he was decent. But then guys like Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, and Marvin Bagley were going crazy against us. Tyrese Halliburton scored 2 points the first 3 quarters, I'm pretty sure. 15 points in the fourth. Our defense let up 15 points in the fourth quarter, the most crucial quarter in the whole entire game, against a rookie who was in his like 8th game at that point. And it was just really freaking frustrating to watch, to say the least. And I think we could have won. I feel like we should have won that game against the Kings, especially with De'Aaron Fox out, but we didn't. And then the game against the Trailblazers, we went crazy. We won that game, came back down 20. And then the game against the Thunder, we only lost by 2 points. We had a 20-point lead. All we needed to do was keep that lead, and we win that game. So that's really frustrating. And then when you look back, the game against the Warriors, we should have won. Damian Lee hit a crazy, really lucky game-winning 3. And the refs even said, like, oh, it might have been a 5-second violation on the inbound pass. It might have been a moving screen on whoever it was who set the screen for Damian Lee. And it's just like, bro, if we win that Warriors game and the Kings game and the Thunder game that I feel like we should have won, then we're looking at the Bulls being 9-5 right now. That is really good. And if the Clippers and Lakers game, you know, a couple of things go our way, then we're looking at the Bulls being 11-3. So I'm really happy with the Bulls. I think the Bulls are finally a good team again. Obviously, it's probably going to take 1 or 2 more years before we become, you know, actual contenders. But as of right now, I'm happy with the Bulls. I feel like we could make the playoffs because the Hawks are also mediocre. The Wizards, they're not doing that good. And there's a couple other teams that are still not doing good. And I feel like the Bulls might be able to make the playoffs. And I feel like in a couple of years, they're going to be contenders. So I'm really happy as a Bulls fan right now. That's all I really had to talk about in this video. Yeah, I'm just really happy to be a Bulls fan. But hopefully you guys enjoy. And I feel like there's many years to come with this Bulls team. I feel like as the years pass on, the Bulls are probably going to become contenders. And that's really happy, and I'm really happy to see that. But yeah, that's going to be all for the Bulls game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I'll see you next time.